Good afternoon, hello world, and welcome to the United Hour. I am President Chad, and today, we have a lot of stuff to discuss with you all today because, no, we didn't have a scheduled program today, but there was just so much happening after the fallout, after we lost the city, that it was just necessary to have a program today. What are we going to be talking about? We're going to be talking about Rashford reportedly considering his future at Manchester United. We're going to be talking about board meeting. There was a big board meeting called after the game to City, and Ralph and his staff was called into that board meeting. We're going to get into what that board meeting comprised of reportedly and what is going to be the fallout coming out of that board meeting. But we're going to start off talking about the GOAT, the man himself, the guy that breaks the internet when he takes off his shirt, the most popular human being on Instagram with over 4 million followers. We starting off talking about the man Cristiano Ronaldo. And who is going to be helping me today? We got the man Caveman out there in Barbados. How you doing, brother?
Doing okay, man. Just ready to get the show, share some share some opinions. You know,
Nice,
that's
nice. And
about
we
it.
got sports journalist Kern Tyson. How you doing, Kern?
Pretty good. Great to be with you, Chad. I'm a friend from Barbados. I've been to Barbados for 10 years, and I'm still upset about that. So I'm looking forward to come across there maybe somewhere, maybe June or July, hopefully.
All
Okay,
right, cool,
okay.
cool. So, guys, I want to break this into two parts. I want to talk facts, meaning what we absolutely know for certain, and then I want to talk what is being reported. So let's start off with the facts. The fact is that Cristiano Ronaldo went to the final training session on um Siraj is saying
Saturday.
good performance. Siraj, we ain't talking about Sunday. We're trying to get over it. You know what I mean? I still recovering from Sunday. Those who know.
recovery serum.
Mm-hmm. So Cristiano Ronaldo went to training on Saturday, and it is normally on Saturday where they discuss team and they're gonna discuss the starting lineup and final strategies to prepare for the game. Obviously, the game was Sunday, so the day before. Um, Cristiano left training early. Cristiano boarded his jet without telling anybody at Manchester United, and Cristiano Ronaldo went to Portugal. Where Cristiano Ronaldo is right now, I cannot tell you. What I know is that Manchester United had training today, and Cristiano Ronaldo did not show up for training. Those
For
are the
you.
facts, right? That is what we know for certain. There's no question in any of the things I just told you. Now, let's talk about what was reported. It was reported that Cristiano Ronaldo had an injury, and that is why he did not show up for the game. Um, there's also reporting that Cristiano, when he found out that his name was not on the team sheet and he was not going to start, that he, threw the tantrum and left and just rode out. He said, "Well, if I'm not starting, I go on." Right? The bottom line is he didn't show up for training, and nobody at the club knew that he had left the country and was going to Portugal for the weekend. Who wants to go first with this one? What are your thoughts about this situation, Clint Tyson?
So the art of communication, as one of the few things I know in life, because I really don't know much. The art of communication is what is not said. And by him jumping on the plane and going off to Portugal, we could say a lot of things out of that. Because
Without informing the
if
team.
he,
That's the important part. Without
yeah,
informing the team.
and without informing the team, so he didn't say anything, but his silence, we could write maybe a 5,000 word essay or story. And I think what it would say is, and I'm sure all of us would agree, I'm fed up by this dotishness. I don't want to be a part of this nonsense. I'm not having my way. Call me spoiled or petulant, whatever the hell you want to call me. I don't want to be a part of this. This is not what I signed up for. And let me say it again. I don't want to be a part of this. And that's basically what it is. No, we can analyze whether, and of course it was rude. Of course it was not the way to do things. But you are seeing a man that is fed up, whether he's right or wrong. The fact of the matter is he's fed up, and he just basically threw all his toys out the pram.
So
Thing today, I would love to see how Manchester as a go ahead.
no, what I was gonna ask Caveman, his thoughts, but you go ahead and finish what you were
Mhm.
saying.
No, I'm just saying that. So it is clear to us. Now, of course, they would spin it, but it is clear to us who have half a brain that he given up on the Manchester United project. For me
Well,
to
do you think it's really that
analytically,
he gave up, or is
he's
just
given up
that
his
in
project.
this?
He doesn't want to be a part of it.
Do you think he has given up, or is it just that in this situation, as you said, he hasn't gotten his way, so he just decided, no, I taking a trip? Because it's one thing to take a trip and not come back. For all we know, Cristiano Ronaldo could feature in the next game. So I think it's too early to say he's given up. Um, Caveman, what are your thoughts on Cristiano
No,
Ronaldo?
and you go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
My thoughts on the Ronaldo situation. Well, it's just gonna be. I'm not gonna talk like I know for certain what's going on. I think everything's just gonna be speculation. But I mean, Ralph, we've been praising Ralph for how direct he's been with the media in the media regards player situation. Um, a lot of us said, they're gonna take what Ralph said at face value. Some said we're gonna take it with a grain of salt. Ralph said Ronaldo was injured. Um, and it's not the first time that he's been injured for the season. And this is something that I think I highlighted on the previous thing, that relying on a 37-year-old to be playing so regular. When Ronaldo sprint, you could tell Ronaldo's all out and he can't go anymore. Man is on fumes at times. It heightens the risk of injury. A hip flexor injury, from experience, is one of the most annoying injuries because it's not a tear, it's not a strain, it's just a nagging one that you cannot give it all. So him leaving, I don't know under what grounds he left, but during Ollie's tenure, the Manchester United physical therapy department developed a reputation for not being the most savvy. Because they work for Manchester United, that doesn't mean that they're the best. Clearly, that's something that's very on brand for Manchester United at the moment because they work
So,
there.
so Caveman, you
Let,
saying that you
let me
believe that
finish. Let me finish. Let me
Ronaldo?
finish. Let me finish.
No, and
so
I
I'm
want to
so
make
I'm
sure that
saying
people understand what you're saying, that you believe Ronaldo
Mhm.
has a niggling injury. Yes?
I'm not going to say believe that, but I'm going to go with that theory, with that speculation,
The
because
club, the
like I
club
was
could hire you, boy, as a spokesman.
nah. If a manager say he's injured, you can tell he's been injured already, and it's not the first thing that he had that injury for the season. To be honest, let's speak that's fact. Also, it's not the first time he had that injury for the season. And like I said, they're very annoying.
Boy,
They don't go away that easy, especially if you're not giving it rest. They're not going to go away that easily. And like I was gonna say, under Ollie, this department has developed a reputation for rushing players back, saying people are healthy when they're not healthy. When Rashford came on and spoke about how many players were playing with injuries last season, McTominay at the beginning of the season had a surgery, and days after coming back from surgery, got thrown into the starting lineup. These things, all of these things, need to be considered. At 37 years old, man, I'm I'm still younger than Cristiano Ronaldo, but when I'm working out, I feel the effects of it if we don't get enough rest. We shouldn't be relying. We shouldn't be in a position of relying on a 37-year-old to lead in lineup. At the same time, Ralph didn't expect the situation to be what it is with Greenwood getting into that situation, and with Cavani. Cavani's another puzzling one because he's been healthy but yet not available. Ralph said he trained well in the past 3 days,
Well,
but then he says he's not available.
we're gonna talk about Cavani a little later.
Yeah,
Trust
so
me,
that's
because
just my take on the Ronaldo thing. I'm a Ralph said he's injured. It's an injury he had before. I don't know the circumstance on the where he left, but I'm not going to fault him. Maybe these circumstance of him leaving, maybe how he left was probably not the ideal way, but I'm not going to fault him for not trusting the physical therapy board, the physical therapy department, to nurse him back to health.
I will say this concerning Cristiano Ronaldo and physical therapy. From
Mm,
my excuse me, from my understanding,
mm.
Cristiano Ronaldo's physical therapist travels with him. He don't need to go to Portugal to get physical therapy. Okay, this is not how it is good. Cristiano Ronaldo's physical therapist would have been in England, where he was staying all the time with his family. His trip to Portugal is by choice and not by necessity. Let's put it like that. That I am sure about. Big Phil says the club is toxic from top to bottom. Rashford wanting out is no surprise. The hair slapping Maguire back to Leicester was inevitable. Daryl Joseph, how you doing, brother? Is saying Martial is on loan. And well,
I don't think there's a recall. I don't think there's a recall clause in Martial's loan.
it doesn't really matter. I don't think we want Martial. Anybody, let me tell you something. I
He injured anyway. He injured anyway.
I have reached the place where once you don't want to play for Manchester United,
Isn't he injured?
it's time to the road.
He's
Yeah,
injured.
he's injured, but we don't. It doesn't matter. We don't want Martial back. We don't.
No, so you don't want Martial back. If the coach want him, if the coach in a situation, if the coach wanted him, they could call him back. But we're not gonna call him back. The club not gonna call him.
You
They
want
don't
a
have a
player
recall.
who don't want to be here? Yeah,
Hey,
players like Lingard and Rashford
I
running on
always ask the
yesterday
question.
underperforming.
I always
They
ask the
expect
question: Why
Martial to
does the
come
player
back.
don't want to be there? I always ask the question: Why does the player doesn't want to be there? How many times have we been in this situation for the past 8-9 years? The place is toxic. The shit is rolling down. We could cuss on this podcast. not cuss, but the feces is rolling down from the top, and the players are getting the brunt of it. It's a poorly run club. Poorly run
You
club.
just did.
Toxic environment, man. People want out. Of course. The
Couldn't
signs have been there for long. When Sanchez said it, we abused Sanchez. Disregard what you think, but Raiola have been laying it on the plate for years how poorly this club is ran. Um, Van Gaal, Mourinho, Moyes, all these people that we get and abuse because they exposing how this club is ran. These players aren't foolish. They know when the club is ran. They know when the environment is healthy. It's like you working a typical job. If you're working a job in an unhealthy environment and you have the choice to move, you have the freedom to move, go ahead and move. These players are under contracts. Anyways, that's a tandem. Let me not go there. You
yeah, well, I
continue,
just
Chaddy.
you understand?
The environment is you can keep talking about that. The environment just toxic
Couldn't,
as hell, man.
I wanna shift gears a little bit, and I wanna talk about the board. So there was a board meeting,
Mm-hmm.
and the board has informed Ralph and his team, the management team, that they are looking to activate non-performance clauses.
Mm.
Now, this is what is being reported. The board is supposed to make an official statement at some point on a couple items. So it's not official yet. Now, what is a non-performance clause? I'm going to give you all examples of non-performance clauses. Now, that doesn't mean that specific, because each contract may be different. So some years ago, remember, Balotelli used to be getting in a lot of trouble and was missing a lot of games, and he eventually ended up at Liverpool for a spell. And in his contract, there were there was a clause where if he didn't play enough games, right? Or if he missed too much training, he would be fined. They would dock his pay, right? So that's a non-performance. If you don't perform in terms of making a certain amount of appearances on the pitch or didn't make enough time in training, they would dock performance. So that was an incentive for him to come to training and to not do stuff to get suspended for games. Non-performance, let's say for a defender, a non-performance clause could be, let's say there's a target of you had to keep a minimum of 10 clean sheets for the season. And if you didn't do that, then you could get fined, or you could get a docker P for the next season. They could pay like 15% less. That is for a striker. Non-performance could be okay. Well, you're supposed to score at least 15 goals for the season, and if you don't hit that target, they could dock your pay or maybe give you some less. Now, a lot of players in the team apparently have non-performance clauses, but the club has never been exercising these non-performance clauses. But after our shambolic performance at Spurs against Manchester City, the club has been management, the board is frustrated, and they have decided that they're going to go down the road of non-performance clauses. Now, it is said that Ralf is not in support of this. Ralf Rangnick doesn't think this is a good idea, and he is not in support of the club activating the players' non-performance clauses. Before I throw it to you all, I just want to say this. There was one other time in recent history that Manchester United did this, and they activated non-performance clauses for Dwight York and Andy Cole. And in the long and short of it, it was one of the things that pushed those players out of the club, because Dwight York wasn't getting the minutes to produce the kind of goals. You already remember the last season, I think Dwight only played like 6 games, started only 6 games, right? So if you're not getting the opportunities to perform, I don't know what the situation was with Cole, but if the last time that I could recall the club did this, it resulted in players leaving, it makes me wonder why the club is doing this now. Right? So, Kun, talk to me. What are your thoughts on the board activating non-performance clauses on the players? I don't know if we have a delay, Kun. I'm not hearing what you're saying at all. All right, we're not hearing Kun. Go ahead, Keith, man. Talk to me. What are your thoughts?
A non-performance clause, that's something that's in a gray area. But like you said, like you outlined their measurements to the non-performance. That's
There's a
something
bit
that
of
would.
a few seconds. So let me know
Huh?
what you. Oh.
I
You want
think
me to continue?
Kun challenge. Yeah, you go ahead. Kun's challenge is his internet. So you go
Okay.
ahead there, Keith, man.
Right. So I don't know how I feel about Lord, this dog. These dogs. Give me a second. Let me switch rooms. Or am I having internet difficulty in next one? The dogs.
Now you go ahead, man. The dogs ain't really disturbing us.
Okay. So how I feel about non-performance clause? Yeah, that is a gray area, to be honest. Even though I'm upset with how the guys are performing, upset that we're not getting the results. I think that's what it boils down to. We're just not getting results. This was a Manchester City team that we're talking about. This is a team that's in a different sphere at this moment.
Yeah, but that second half performance was horrible, boy. A lack of heart.
Yeah, yeah,
Siraj, I think, mentioned it earlier when he was saying that You know, Roy Keane said yesterday that these players don't deserve to play for United. Roy Keane also said that, you know, they just didn't show up. They just didn't show up.
Yeah, but it's a for me it's still a gray area, man. The coach will know better, especially if you're performing in training. If you're performing in training, and you're doing what's asked of you in the training, that's how you earn your starting berth. So non-performance for me, it, I don't know the details. We don't know the exact details of the contract, the non-performance contract clause, but
Yeah, well, it'll be different for every player.
that makes it even more even more questionable. I honestly don't have a solid opinion on the non-performance clause. I just think it's a gray area, and I wouldn't want to see that. This is this is the club's doing over long term, um, rewarding mediocrity with these massive contracts. Um, so yeah, man, you'll go come back to me if you think of anything else. Yeah, I don't have anything else to add to it. Like I just don't agree with the non-performance clause. Um,
So you think we
um,
shouldn't you think the players shouldn't be punished financially? That's what you're saying in a nutshell. You know, you know the fan reaction and whatever, you know, is enough. But we shouldn't that instead of it being an incentive, it may work against the club. Yes. All right.
if
Think
playing
about
for
it,
Manchester
caveman.
United, if playing for Manchester United, if being selected, if being in a derby isn't enough incentive, the performance clause isn't going to do anything. It's not going to be any more incentive. That's just going to be a slap on the wrist for them, and keep it pushing. The season soon finish. What the club needs to do going forward is not give them these mammoth contracts. But right now, with the season about to finish, it's too late, man. It's too late. It's There's no incentivism that could turn this around. Incentives
All
that
right.
could turn
Cool,
this
cool.
around.
Big Phil, what are your thoughts on performance, non-performance clauses?
For me, it's more of a agree to disagree, right? Because it is kind of too late in the season. I don't think any of the players are up for playing for Manchester United. It's just about wearing the badge, and that's about it, right? However, right, I think when you hit somebody in their pockets, that's where it hurts them. But at the end of the day, some of these players know that they're leaving Manchester United at the end of the season. So it doesn't matter if you hit me in my pockets right now. You could have hit me in my pockets a month from now or even a month before. I know that I am not going to be a Manchester United player come this summer. I'm going to be at a club that's going to pay me even more. Or I am going to at least be at a club where I am going to be motivated to play for. Some of these players don't want to be playing for Manchester United. They just want to have it on their CV. I used to play for Manchester United, and that looks good on a CV, right? But at the end of the day, I'm for it, but I still get where Caveman is coming from with regards to it being late, right? So
I Anything that communicates to these players that they are not giving us enough, I am in support of. However, I am not in support of this because Ralph is not in support of this. Ralph is the person who have to deal with these players week in, week out, day in, day out, and he is the one that is going to get, if there's backlash or not, he's the one that is going to get it. And to me, the person who have to face the fire is the person who you need on board when you're looking to put these kind of things in place. You understand what I'm saying? It comes like you're working the board members sitting up there and on the top floor of the business, sending down a directive, and you as a supervisor, you have to
You got to
implement the
face it.
directive, but you don't agree with it. You don't support it. The people who you have to deal with and supervise, they're dealing with you. They don't see the board members. You understand? They don't. So if Ralph was in support of it, I would have been behind it 100%. Because it seems Ralph is not in support of it. At least that is what is being reported. But let's see how it goes. But it's nice. The one thing I would say is nice to see the board actually caring about performances and not just people
T-shirt
image.
sales.
Yeah, that's the only positive that the board
To the
actually seems like,
interactions.
nah, this is ridiculous now.
Yeah.
Let's do something about it. So I want to jump into let's talk about Marcus Rashford. Keep man, you have the tweet from
Oh, from Fabrizio.
Producer Mano there.
Yes, sir. Okay, give me a second. Um, Fabrizio said earlier Marcus Rashford is considering his future. He's concerned about his lack of game time. Source close to my United forward told me he's always been professional, but he wants clarity. His current Manchester United deal runs out June 23rd. That is one tweet. The other
That,
one is,
that's
you want
20,
the other tweet?
2023, right?
Yeah, June 2023.
Oh, okay.
You want the other
So
tweet too?
nah, that's all right. That's enough.
That's enough. Yeah.
Okay.
That's more than enough.
That's more than
So
enough.
Big
Yeah.
Phil, when you saw that, I know you follow Producer Mano, closely.
You ain't even gonna ask the question, President Chad. Look at my hand signals. Go. Go.
Big Phil, you
Go.
ready to send Marcus Rashford man's born and
Go.
bred?
Go. Go.
This rare,
Go.
this rare, this rare. It's
Go.
black and white for me and Phil because
Now here, because here what's going on. We have a team full of
prima
egotistical
donnas.
players, and Marcus Rashford is one of them. You've done nothing for us. You've done something for your image and for your brand outside of the club by feeding a million children, but you can't feed our players as well. Go. Go. I have been on this podcast saying many times the difference between Marcus Rashford and Kylian Mbappe is decision making. I've also said that Manchester United probably will not sell England's future British Prime Minister because of what he's doing off of the pitch. But I am no longer for Marcus Rashford being a Man United player with the attitude that he's given and the performances on the pitch. He can go.
Caveman, talk to me.
Um, Players are allowed to have a bad season. This is definitely a horrible season for Rashford. Um, him wanting clarity on the direction the club is going, I'm always fine with players doing that. Um,
Let me interrupt you 1 minute there, caveman, because Donny Van de Beek wanted clarity. Jesse Lingard wanted clarity. Eric Bailly wanted clarity. You can continue now.
right. So did Wayne Rooney wanted clarity back in the day, but he merited he gained the support with his performances. But like I said, Rashford is allowed to have players are allowed to have a down season. But I have no issue with a player wanted to know what direction the club is going. This is not the first time post Ferguson or even the past decade, even with Ferguson, this is not the first time that one of our major players wants to know what direction the club is going. I will always say this: the club is poorly ran. I was someone could start record. The club is poorly ran.
Caveman, I hear you. I hear you.
Listen, let me finish. Let me finish.
You was telling us about the
For the
club being poorly run before.
1.2, just take remember this: 1.2 billion spent. We just throw money at players, throw money at clubs, bringing pieces without a plan. If I'm a professional player at the club, I want to also know what direction the club is going, because to me it doesn't seem like we have a purpose, we have a plan going in transfer market, we have a plan in style of play. There's no apparent plan in anything. The plan is just we're Manchester United, we can do what we want by throwing our pocketbook at it and hope it works. So that's the strategy for the past 8 years, and look where it got us.
I hear that. I hear that.
But you don't want to hear it. You hear that, but you
No,
don't
it's
want to hear
not
it.
about I don't want to hear it. I am all about situations. You understand? We just got our ass handed to us from Manchester City. You, as Marcus Rashford, are in the middle of a slump. Right? You're in the middle of a slump. You're not performing well. You're not ripping up trees. Marcus Rashford don't even have the right now to point a finger at Harry Maguire and say, "Hey, you playing shit," because he playing balls too,
It's like Spider-Man. It's like Spider-Man pointing at Spider-Man.
right? This is when the fans struggling to find something positive to hold on to, you going to allow your PR people to talk to Fabrizio Romano. We know Fabrizio Romano. There's not the bomb or the punch in Trinidad and Tobago or the
Or
mirror
the
in,
advocate.
in England. This is Fabrizio Romano. He is not putting this out unless he knows he has spoken to somebody from Marcus Rashford camp. This is what you're going to put out after the humiliation of yesterday, after you came on and made no difference on the pitch. I have real issues with this. Yeah, overall, what you're saying is true. But until we can appoint another permanent manager, there's going to be a lot of questions to answer. Right? But now is not the time for you to be saying that. This is the thing players that say when they're trying to position themselves for a new contract, when they're trying to get a contract extension or a raise. Marcus Rashford in a position to talk about a contract extension or a raise?
All
Only for
speculation.
only
All
only
speculation.
only for his off the field contributions. But don't get me wrong.
All,
I get what
all
Caveman is saying,
speculation.
right?
But
I
you
get what
know,
Caveman is saying. Yeah.
off the back of what Chad's saying, I'm probably one of the few that do not believe a player tells his agent what to say. The agent represents the player, but they're both individual. They're both grown men. Chad, you can laugh all you want. I
Bro,
You can laugh all you want.
Marcus Rashford.
Listen, let me finish
Just now,
talk. Let
just
me
now,
finish
just now,
talk.
just now. Marcus
Let me finish talk.
Rashford is
Let me
not
let me finish talk, Chad.
Paul
Let me finish
Pogba.
talk. Let me finish
No,
talk.
no.
Let me
You're going to
finish
get the
talk.
last word. You will
Let me
get the
finish.
last word.
I want the
Marcus
last word. It just
Rashford.
won't finish where it start. It just
No.
won't finish where it start.
No, I have
It
to
just
say
won't
this.
finish where it start. Let me finish. Let me
I
finish.
want I want to hear a Caveman go. I want to hear a Caveman go.
I want to hear what you had to say too, but you had to wait for me to say this. Marcus Rashford is not Paul Pogba. Marcus Rashford has Rock Wool or whatever the name is, PR people behind him. Marcus Rashford, when it's not even to say we're not even sure a Marcus Rashford agent. And last time I checked, Marcus Rashford agent was his brother. To add to that, right? So Marcus Rashford team may not even be his agent. It could be his PR people that reached out to Fabrizio. The point is that the timing is just horrible. The floor is all yours, Caveman. Go ahead.
You ready?
Yeah, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Okay. Players got agents. They got family members. They got friends. We expect players to keep the mouth shut too many times. If I have my wife or my my friend or my agent, these people are supposed to check in on me, see how I'm doing, see how I'm feeling. If I confide in them and they decide, you know what, they want to take that information back to the agent without telling him, he can't stop that. I'm not saying it's like this for every situation. For some situations, they're gonna ask for permission and be like, "Yo, you mind if I put this to the press? Hey, you do you. You do your thing. You know what you're doing. That's what I hire you for." At the same time, they, nah, we gotta start looking at this thing that this. Some people's family members are upset and they run to the press. Some people confide to the friends and the friends are upset. They run to the press. That's why these journalists, they don't reveal their sources because they can undermine the information that they get. Agents, same thing, and that's the agent's job. The agent's job is to maximize one, his player's contract, player's well-being, and if you're a player that wants to achieve things, Your agent is there to talk to the board, talk to the press, and put them in a position to explain themselves.
Okay, man,
That's
I have
how
one
that's how we see
question
it.
for you. I
That's how
have
we see
one
it.
question for you. I hear you that you cannot always control what is being said. You cannot always control the people that you confide in. However,
Exactly. That's what I'm
if
saying.
however, if it is you know that you confide in 2, 3, 4, 5 people and you hear something out in the press, you should be able to know, well, this is the people I told this to, and
And you go
you
and
should
talk to
try
them. You're
you
going to
should
have
try
a
to monitor
conversation
that.
with them.
But my question to you is this.
Because how often you hear something about Rashford consider this is the first thing we hear about Rashford considering his future.
So
And that is exactly the point, caveman. Why?
yeah,
This is
exactly.
not like there are some people
And that's the
you
point that I'm
always
trying
hear
to make.
leaks
It's not
surrounding
it's
them.
not it's not like it's a repetitive thing with Marcus. This is the first thing
Marcus runs a professional and tight ship, which is what leads me to believe that he is fully aware of this. And this is not, Marcus don't run a leaky ship.
Also, Marcus Rashford isn't shy from social media. Marcus Rashford is very active on social media from the time he was feeding the children to the time the latest guy from I don't know if it was Germany or Portugal that called out the entire United team for fighting between Ronaldo and Maguire and Rashford retweeted it and replied to it, right? So Rashford isn't shy from social media. So
Oh
Rashford
yeah,
could have
that German guy.
Rashford, yeah, the German guy. Rashford could have easily took Fabrizio Romano's tweet and replied to it. He could have done it.
You're not gonna fight every battle? You're
True,
not
true.
going you're not going
No.
you
You are right. You are right.
you're not
He
gonna fight
picks
every time
he
somebody put
picks his
something out there, you're not
battles.
gonna
He
do it.
don't fight, period. You think it's only that German guy that would have said something, and he wasn't even talking specifically about Marcus anyway. He was
But
talking about the club.
He's not going to fight every battle. But I'm just saying, Marcus Rashford isn't shy from social media. That's all I'm saying.
You're right. I agree. At the same time, he don't be on there fighting every fighting every journalist. That's a one-off thing. That was a one-off thing too.
So
If it was something that he was constantly doing and then he goes silent all of a sudden, then I'll be like, But that was a one-off something. This is the first time that this is happening. My speculation is going to be in the gray area. I'm not going to make it seem like it's black and white. Okay, Rashford behind this, Rashford not behind this. I'm just saying, is a gray area, is a possibility. What you say is also a possibility. What I said also, we don't know. We don't know.
so let's switch gears, because thinking about Marcus Rashford just upsetting me right now. I and I wanna
you,
I wanna I
you
wanna
was
ask
you was said it.
I
Go
wanna
ahead.
ask I wanna ask you all this question. The more I analyze the stuff we hear coming out of the Manchester United dressing room, is the more I start questioning um the influence of player power. It seems to me too many players in Manchester United right now seems to feel that they have the power, or
Don't think
more
so.
power than they should have. Managers come, managers go, and these players. Sometimes with these players' performances, it literally comes like they're throwing people under the bus, and they are the ones that seem to be held accountable the least. And I don't mean by us, the fans, but I mean generally they could come out and tweet, "Oh, bad performance, we go again," and then the next game they do the same thing. Where's the accountability? They don't hold themselves to account. But the whole media, everybody just be quick to jump down manager's throat. So I wanna talk about any program talking about player power at Manchester United. And talk to me. I'm gonna start off with you, Big Phil. What do you think about player power at Manchester United right now?
Ask yourself this one question: from in the hierarchy of Manchester, from forget the owners. Let's talk about the board, um, whoever's under them, then the coaches, managers, the players, to the academy, whatever. Out of all of those, who do you think is the highest paid personnel at Manchester United? It's obvious. It's obvious answer. It's the players.
Players,
The players
some
are
of the
paid more.
players, yeah.
Some of the players are being paid more than the actual manager, whoever's the manager, and that's common across all clubs and all boards. Don't get me wrong, right? But it just happens that Manchester United are taking advantage of it. The players are, I would say, right now. If you are a person in charge and you have, let's say, let's say the decisions are made 90% of the time by you, then all of a sudden you bring players into it, right? Now your 90% kind of gets divided up. Now you may have not 90% anymore, but you may have 75%, right? And as soon as players start to take to social media, that's when your power kind of gets split, not evenly, but you'll probably have less than 90% of power. Just to use an example. So these players don't forget, President Chad. These players always had power. Don't forget, some of these players have millions upon millions upon millions of followers on social media. So sometimes whatever they say is goes, right? So they will always have some sort of influence at Manchester United. When you go to when somebody who lives in England or somebody who's looking to watch Manchester United play, who are they coming to watch? Not the board, not the coaches. They're coming to watch the players. And I know that's the obvious, right? But I just got to state it. So yeah, it only happens at Manchester United. I don't see it happening at any other club though. So
Caveman,
What do you think about player power?
yeah, at Manchester
Um,
United.
it Listen, when I was an athlete, I personally followed the coach's orders with the coach. You want to know why? Because they have probably twice my Asian experience. I'm not going to be there trying to undermine the coach unless it's a really bad situation. But the player power was shocking when you got a manager like Mourinho. When you see a manager like Mourinho, one of the biggest personalities in the sport, get thrown under the bus by or get left hung out to dry by the board over the players, that's a big issue.
Caveman
Ole,
as a
I'm
as an
writing it.
athlete.
Ole, I'm writing it credit to them. They're not as big personalities as Marino. I think the player power, it needs some reining in. I
As
can
a
understand they want the influence. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I want to ask you a question. As an athlete, right?
Mm,
You know what it is to have managers, to have coaches above you.
mm,
You know what it is to be a trainer and a coach yourself, to bring up younger ones, in athletics. Yeah. When you look at Ralph Ragnick's demeanor, the way he speaks, the way he interacts with players, um, do you think that he is somebody that you as a sportsman would want to work with? Does he come across like somebody easy to work with?
he he seems, yes, he does come across as someone that I won't say easy to work with, but he does communicate a lot. He's very detailed with communication. That is a very important aspect of athlete
So,
coach
so,
relationship.
so I ask you that because we remember Martial coming out and directly challenging the word of the manager. We
Mm.
remember Lingard
Lingard,
coming out
Lingard.
directly countering the words of the manager. I am very curious. I haven't heard Cristiano Ronaldo hasn't put out a tweet. He hasn't put out any social
If
media.
Cristiano do that, dog dag.
I would love to hear what Cristiano Ronaldo has to say because at some point he have to post something. You don't have to be football related, but he had to post something,
he can
right?
post his abs. He can post his abs.
Because to me, Ralph seems, as you say, a good communicator, very honest, very straightforward. And these players, seem like they have no problem putting Ralph under the sword. You know? That's how it comes across to me. I don't know if you've seen something different. Let me just read
Okay.
these let me read some
Okay,
these
go ahead, go ahead.
comments, and then you'll go ahead and respond, right? Because I send that in your direction. Sterling is saying the manager is in charge. A player has no say in what the manager decides. Well,
I don't agree with
that's
that.
how it should be. That's how it should be, but it's not always that way. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Omar is saying, I don't think that there's a quick fix. And Manchester United, you're speaking the truth.
Quit sign.
You're speaking the truth there, Omar. I no quick fix here.
No.
And Carlton is saying, guys, we are not good enough. Well, Carlton, I feel you had to write that song, boy. Turn it into a soca. And we'll probably beat it because every
Oh.
program Carlton is saying the same thing. We can't go anywhere with McTominay, Fred, and Pogba. We are too one-dimensional. We can't do anything in attack. Excuse me. It started under Ole. Notice the
Started before
sharp
that.
decline in Martial, Rashford, and Greenwood. Most of the time, we give up the ball in our half. Whew, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. Yes. Talk to me. Talk to me, Caveman.
Oh, right. And this is the Ryan Marshall, Ryan Lingard. Here's the thing.
No, not. Go
When it
ahead. Yeah, go
first,
ahead.
when it first, when it first, when it first heard it, I was like, okay, I'm not going to judge. No, I want to hear the following interview. And on both occasions, he said that, especially with Marshall, he said that they came to an understanding, meaning that there was a possibility, there was a misunderstanding before. The possibility. I'm not saying there was. I'm saying possibility there was a misunderstanding because he's new to the club, right, Nick? He no gotta. They both don't. English isn't both their primary language. Things could have been lost in transition. You gotta take these things into consideration. A lot of these players they know English, but they don't know. They don't fully understand the usage of some English words. Things could be lost in transition. I'm fine with players coming on and saying, well, whoa. I didn't say that because you know what? This is the first generation. I don't know if I said this here on any pods before, but this is the first generation of players that us fans have direct access to these players. Marshall had to lock off his comments. Can you imagine that man's inbox? Can you imagine the threats that are the bullshit that his wife would have been getting when he said, because we saw the reaction on Twitter. People were furious when Ryan said Marshall doesn't want to play for the club. But it turned out Marshall didn't say that. Got to take into consideration the time that we in now. Players, especially, I hate to bring race into it, especially as a black player. You have to protect yourself. You have to explain yourself because people don't go there and interview players one-on-one and say, well, did you say this? They don't. So they have to use their platforms to say, hey, I didn't say that. No, Lingard and Marshall chose to do that. Fine. I'm not going to say that every player needs to do that, but them choosing to do that, fine by them. If they chose not to do it and right and then decide to clear things in private and they just get their head down and do what they need to do, also fine. But I take into consideration the times that we live in. Fans, these players get abused relentlessly. Manchester United is one of the most followed clubs. So even if it's 1% of fans that are abusing these players, that's still a lot for a human being to take. These players, so I'm fine with that. And that
You find with these players in the dirty laundry in the public space against the manager.
that's not any dirty laundry. The reaction that like
I
I said,
remember
the
do,
reaction on social media, and we don't know what their inboxes would have been looking like. I mean,
if you are a player and
mhm.
you can't take criticism regardless, then you
if it's
shouldn't
a
be on social media.
if it's
Because
not true,
Ralph don't need to say that you didn't want to play for you to get attacked. When you go on and miss a goal, you
if
think
it's
people will
not
be
true,
waiting to
if what Ralph said isn't true, he They have all right to clear
I
it up.
remember when Marcus Rashford, when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was reported as saying that Marcus Rashford needs to spend less time feeding on his social activities, right? And more time on his football. I didn't see Rashford come out and say, Ole need to mind business. Ole need to take it down.
Like I said not too long
Hold
ago,
on, hold
every
on, hold
player
on.
doesn't have to do it.
Come now,
Every player
man,
don't have
kid,
to do it.
man. You had the opportunity. You don't need to repeat. Everybody hear what you say. The next time that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was in front of camera, he was sitting next to Marcus Rashford, and he clarified his statements, and everybody knew that both of them was on the same page. The same way that Ralph, when he asked about it, came back in his next press conference and made it clear that there was a communication issue. You don't need to throw a manager under the bus because managers could do the same thing. You think managers don't know more things about players that are truthful, that they could come out and say to hurt them? You think managers can come out and say, watch me, this guy wasn't giving full effort in practice and this, that, and the other. And they don't. Ralph hasn't done that. Ole didn't used to do nobody that. Players need to check themselves. You can't just say, well, yeah, man, just saying that is not true. And you just going on social media. If everybody do that, the whole world fall down. You know? The whole world fall down. It cannot be like that. I understand as a player, you want to protect your image.
Like I said, if they choose to do it, fine.
Communicate with your manager and say, man, you see where you say there, you know, that is not
It
true,
ain't true.
And Ralph would have come out and said, here, what? So Ralph is a big man. We see Ralph. You think Ralph would have not come out and refer to his statements if Martial and Jesse dealt with it a different way? So these players, to me, taking it too far. Because Marcus could have more than come out and tackle Ole for that
I got a
statement.
rebuttal for that. I have a rebuttal for that. Ralph, like I specifically said, while I was talking, Ralph was new. They don't know the intentions of this new manager. Ole and Rashford had a rapport. They had a relationship. I'm a line, it's fact. That's fact. If this manager has only been here for a couple of weeks, come and throw me under the bus in the public that unprovoked. You can't fault the players for wanting to clap back, wanted to, hey, nah, this dude tripping, yo. This is not what we discussed just a few hours ago. What is his intention? What's his angle? So he's new. He's new. It's a new relationship. They went through the vetting process. It's a new relationship. It's not that they intentionally threw him under the bus. They did that to clear their name. So
I hear you. I hear you. I'm just saying that I think players also need to check themselves
before they wrap this out.
Yeah, because you're putting yourself on thin ice.
That is true.
Right now, I am
also
telling you,
is fact.
A lot of Manchester United supporters have real angst against these players because of what we're seeing on the pitch and because of what we're hearing.
When it rains, of course.
Yeah, and if they continue doing the things they're doing and going on the road, it's not going to
for the average person, it's not going to. And I agree.
It does sit well. It does sit well with us. So,
because at the end of the day, the fans want to be satisfied. The fans want to be happy, and results make the fans happy.
You know what has upset me for a while?
Rashford.
People is be like, oh, you know, effort should be the bare minimum at Manchester United, right? There are people that used to have problems when you want to call the name and say, well, yeah, James and McTominay and these guys just give everything for the badge. And I agree. Once you put on a Manchester United jersey and you run out there, you're supposed to go full 100 and give everything for the badge. And when you see these guys highly paid, underperforming, and when I say underperforming, Rashford fresh, he now come on No, come on the pitch. A man who on the pitch 70 minutes before you, just walking past you with the ball. Even if you can't get involved in the game going forward, Jesse Lingard and Marcus Rashford couldn't run back and do more defensively. You're not trying to get yourself in the game at all.
Mm-hmm.
No, man, no. These players very disappointing to me right now, and I think
May
they're
going through the
disappointing to
emotions,
all of
man.
us.
The season need to
Disappointing
hurry
to
up and
all.
finish.
I can't
So
wait. I
everybody can have
can't
a sit
wait.
down.
I can't wait till summer, boy. I am
I know
not.
how people could be. Oh, go
I
ahead,
am not.
continue.
I am not going to lie. We are holding on to a thread called the Champions League second leg. That's the thread we're holding on to right now. As soon as that thread is cut, and by that I mean if Atletico Madrid does eliminate us from the Champions League, I'm telling you, as a Manchester United fan, I hate to say this, but there's no motivation to watch United for the rest of the season. I will probably tune back in every now and then, but I won't be waking up out of my bed to be watching United every single fixture on a weekend. I'll tune in every now and then, probably tune into the summer, and that's about it.
One of the things that was
We
said
back for the
earlier
preseason.
earlier in this program, we were talking about the board. Reportedly, it hasn't been confirmed as yet, looking to fine players for non-performance and stuff like that, right? One of the reasons I think the board has decided to take this step is because I think the board recognizes that top four is no longer in their hands. The board recognizes that we still have Spurs, Arsenal, and Liverpool to play. Arsenal have games in hand and are already above us and already playing better than us. And the board tell themselves,
Tottenham
you know
just
what,
won the game too.
if the players get vexed, so what? What do we have to lose at this point? We forget top. As far as the board is concerned, top four out the window. Let's start looking at next season. And who want to get vexed? Let them get vexed now so they could bust out. I personally think that is the attitude that the higher ups at Manchester, not the coach, not the coach. I ain't saying the coach, that is his mentality. But I think that is the board mentality. And as you were saying, and as you alluded to, Phil, I think we're going to have a lot of fireworks and a lot of changes coming this summer. I am hoping for at least eight player turnover in the summer. We are
Hey,
a lot of
look,
guys to roll out.
I wanna write on that comment.
Go
My
ahead.
prediction for this summer, there's going to be the physical exodus and there's going to be the mental and emotional exodus. The physical one is players that actually get to leave. The mental and emotional is ones that because they're being paid too much or whatever price tag the club slap on them, they're not going to be able to get them out the club. And we're gonna start next season with players whose hearts and whose minds aren't set on United, and that's going to be a detriment because the board has a lot of big decisions to make this summer. I don't know if they're going to be able to make them. So that's my prediction
I go
that we're
back.
going to be starting
I go
next
back.
season with
I go
people
back my
that
team.
don't believe.
I go back my team, but at the end of the day, I'm very realistic about some. I'm not one of these fans that's going to be very optimistic all the time. I'm going to be optimistic. I'm going to be
I'm
realistic.
pragmatic.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, I see the limitations of this club. Am I going to support the club? Yes, I will. I will. But at the
100.
end of the day, I know that it doesn't make sense to put all your energy into something if there's going to be no result at the end of the tunnel. Right? That's just me.
Facts.
I know for a fact that we are holding on to this thread. If Atletico Madrid eliminate us from the Champions League, that is our season over. What do we have to play for? I'm being realistic.
Atletico just won the game yesterday. They beat the third place team.
Atletico Madrid just win 3-0. Spurs just won
Yeah,
5-0. Okay,
5-0.
and we got
Mm-hmm.
and we got those two teams next.
Man, warming up for a team that's struggling to score.
Yeah,
Spurs beat up Donny van der Beek. Anyway, I think we're gonna be winding it up. We're gonna be winding it up. People,
Dangerous.
remember Thursday 6 o'clock, the United Hour. We're gonna be talking and we're gonna spend a little time on Thursday's program talking about what Manchester United needs to do in the summer to be successful next season, to win some kind of silverware? Or should we just forget about silverware and just, look to start all
We
over? I don't know.
should.
But we're going to be talking about
Well,
that on
we
Thursday.
should.
That's going to be the
Yeah.
main topic on Thursday. And then, of course, we're also going to do a preview to our game against Tottenham Hotspurs. So, thank you very much, Caveman. Thank you, Big Phil. And Kern Tyson, who was with us at the beginning of the program. Remember, Red Devils, we don't die, we multiply. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon, everybody.
Hey, if you appreciate what we're doing here at the United Hour, please like, please subscribe, and let's grow this community.